Yeah, absolutely. So, welcome to Wednesday Winners, everybody. If you're new here, welcome. It means you're hungry and you're ready to learn. My name is Lake Savage-Bellavance. I'm direct to Nelson and direct to Aaron. I am the agent mentor for the GT agency. So, what we do here is we cover a lot of broad topics on a lot of our national calls. I like to go back in a little bit deeper and get into the finer details and the nitty gritty to help you become a strong, powerful agent. In order to be a great agent, you got to have a strong foundation, and here is where it's made. So, a couple of quick things: workplace engagement. We're doing really well. You guys are really, really asking questions in your upline chat. You're doing that, so keep doing that. Keep all of your business questions in your upline chat. It's easier, and when you do that, instead of just messaging me or messaging Jared or messaging Mark, by leaving in your upline chat, if we're not available because we're in an appointment, well, guess what? You've got multiple other people ready to help answer your question, and that's how we keep our really high level of support for new agents where other agencies, they don't care, they don't give you that support, and that's how we stand apart. Second thing, this is the last night for you to sign up for the conference split into two payments. Okay, conference is 149. This is the last night to sign up so that you can make two payments and you don't have to come up with that all at once. So make sure you go on Workplace. It'll be in the GT agency chat every night, 9:30. You'll see a text blast with everybody's sales. You can click on that and sign up for conference. Conference is coming up. It's coming up March 17th and 18th. It's going to be a blast in Raleigh, North Carolina. You're going to be able to meet me, Mark in person, Jared and Danielle, my wife Sarah. You're going to be able to meet Zach Rudebeck, who was able to hit 20K in his first 3 months in this business on aged leads, by the way, because a lead is a lead is a lead. So it's very beneficial for you to be there. If you want to kickstart your business and be 6 months ahead of the average Joe who comes in, then you need to be there. If you aren't, guess what? Most, if not all, people that don't show up to conference, they don't last 90 days after. Okay, so it's so important for you to be there. I haven't missed one, and I'm so glad that I haven't because I'm at where I am today. So be there or be square, pretty much. Tonight's topic, we are talking about rapport. And before we talk about rapport, I'm going to ask everybody if they could mute out until we're ready to ask questions. Let's see here. That'd be great. Yep. Keep going. A couple more people mute out. Thank you. Awesome. Tonight is about rapport. Now, what do I mean by rapport? Well, I mean about getting to know your clients, having them get to know you. Okay. So people only do business with folks that they know, like, and trust. You're meeting these people for the first time, either face to face or by Zoom or by phone call. The first time you talk to them is the phone script. Okay. That's where rapport building really starts. They get a little hint of your personality. They get a little hint of who you are from that initial call. So that's really where the rapport building is going to start. How do we do that? How do we build rapport? Lake, I'm trying to set an appointment. Why am I trying to, make them like me? Because your appointments will actually show up because they'll remember how you made them feel. They might not remember your name, they might not remember your face, but they're definitely going to remember how you made them feel. This is the entire life insurance industry is based on feelings. It's based on emotions. People buy insurance based on their emotions. It's an emotional sale backed by the logic of, well, yeah, it makes sense to get insurance so I don't leave my family in financial hardship. Okay, so we have to start that in the beginning of the phone script. Now, if you're brand new, it's kind of hard to build rapport with your phone script because you're trying to read from it, you're trying to memorize it. But as time goes on, you'll be able to flow in and out of the phone script. You'll be able to add little things. And there's a couple things I'll teach you. And I use humor in order to get people to like me, in order to get people to trust me. Mark does it, Jared does it, Danielle does it, right? A couple of things, when I'm tying down an appointment. Oh, By the way, Mary, is there anything that would keep you from meeting with us tomorrow night at 4:30? Like maybe forgetting, you had something to do with the husband, or the kids have practice, a planned lightning strike, a planned flat tire. Those little things, they really do add up. They make them laugh. Another thing I'll do is when I'm setting an appointment. Hey, have you guys ever done a Zoom before? Great. All you have to do is click the link and I'll pop up on the other side. Now listen, if you find me too ugly when you pick up, just hang up. I won't be offended, okay? These will get people to start laughing. Now, you don't need to do little corny jokes like I do. That's just my MO. But the biggest thing is talk to them like they're a real person. We shouldn't, when you're dialing people, you cannot start talking to them like you're a robot. Hi, my name is Lake. It is nice to meet you. You don't want to talk like that. That's just boring. Or they think that you're an automated system, right? Or if you talk to them like, hi, my name is Lake, and I'm getting back to you from the Mortgage Protection Center. That's a customer service voice. They automatically think you're a telemarketer, right? So in the beginning of your phone script, you want to keep it low and slow. Hi, Mark. I'm Lake. I'm getting back to you from the Mortgage Protection Center. How you doing today? Now, what they say next depends on what I say. If they say, great, how are you? Boom, that's right in the door for me to exclaim how I am and kind of bring something casual. Hey, that's great. I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. How's the weather in Florida? I'm all the way up in Maine where it's -5 degrees. Just little things like that to start building the rapport. Okay. Another thing I like to do is talk about, either the spouse or the children. If someone has more than 3 kids, I always say, okay, so we call that a circus, right? Or we call that a professional basketball team if they have 5 kids, right? These little things will start to add up over time. Okay. You want them to feel good about the appointment, and you want to set it within the same day or next day so they remember how you made them feel. All right. So that's how you really build a rapport. I really want to encourage you guys, if you are getting leads from out of state, you're going to want to do some research in the counties and area that you're in. Let's say if you're in Chicago, right? You're doing leads outside of Chicago. You can talk about sports. You can talk about how deep dish pizza isn't really pizza. You can talk about yeah, David McKay is freaking out right here. So all kinds of different things, right? Do a little research of the area. That way you know what you're dealing with. You're knowing how to, so you can relate to a client. That's the really big thing. You need to make a connection between you and the client. Mark's great. He's a single dad. So if he meets parents, he knows how to talk to other people about having kids. He can talk about the funny things that kids do at a certain age, right? That's an emotional connection that Mark makes with his clients. For me, I could talk about if I see a cat run across the screen, I could talk about my 2 cats. I could pick up my camera and show the big fat snoring cat that I have laying in my office every day, right? And we can make a little joke and laugh about it, right? Those are the connections I'm talking about. You can't go into this very, very dry and slow and go right to business, right? You need to make sure that you bring something to connect you both. Once you have that connection, then that's the foundation for a rapport to be built. Okay. Now, when it comes to the appointment, you're in the beginning, you're going to spend about 5 to 7 minutes talking about everything other than insurance. Okay. You don't want to talk about anything insurance. How I'm going to build rapport with my clients is we have a presentation, guys. So let me go ahead and show you my presentation. So let's say we've got this up here. I like to make fun of myself and my balding. So I'll say, listen, guys, this is my big giant French Canadian family. This is back when I had hair, and you can guess which grandfather gave me the balding gene, right? And you can laugh at that. They know they have big family oriented people. They're really going to connect to this. And then I'm always going to go, hey, this is me and my beautiful wife, Sarah. We've been together for 10 years. If you're talking to a married couple, they're going to think about when they first got married. They're going to think about, how long they've been together. And then you're just going to be able to get to business a little bit easier that way. Okay. When it comes to couples, it's a little bit easier because you can bounce things off each other. So I build rapport by asking a lot of questions. How I do that is, how long have you guys been together? Who said I love you first? I learned that from Jared Leifert, right? Because that's always a funny story. Whether it's the guy or the girl, it's always kind of funny in these little awkward, things that happen when I say I love you for the first time. Or hey, if they've been together for 40 years, wow, you've survived 40 years knowing Mark, right? You kind of just throw those things in there to make sure, to make that happen. So, one of the pitfalls is that you're going to leave people out of couples. What I mean by that is that if you're connecting with a client, but it's just the husband, because let's say the husband hunts and fishes like I do, or the husband rides, side by sides like I do, or he hikes. I could easily get into a conversation with him, but the wife could just be sitting there kind of twiddling her thumbs because that's not her thing, right? That's kind of lopsided. You're building a lot of rapport with him. Well, guess what? The quiet person usually makes the decisions, and it's usually the wife. So you want to make sure you keep them both engaged. So if he talks to me about motorcycles, how do you feel about his motorcycles? Do you have one? Do you like it? Right? Start talking about her hobby. Start talking about what she does for work. Right? Don't leave one person out of it. You need to make sure that they stay both engaged. Now, for single people, right? Talk to them about their hobbies. Hey, down in Florida, you're in Orlando, you must get sick of people going to Disney. You must get crazy every time the winter comes around and people go down to Disney, right? Do you even like Disney, right? I used a landmark in Orlando to make a connection and build some rapport, because I know some people are either going to love it or they're going to absolutely hate it. And guess what? It's a touristy town. So there's going to be millions of people coming in and out of Orlando. And if you live there, that's going to be a pain in the butt. I know it would be for me. Okay. So that's a really simple way of, getting that rapport. And then once you build that trust, you can say whatever you want. Seriously. Once you build that rapport, there's pretty much nothing you can say wrong. Okay. So it gives you the chance to be bold. If someone is giving you pushback, Lake, I really like it, but we want to think about it. Well, I know in the beginning of my presentation, I ask right up front, if we can find the right premium for you guys, is there anything else that would hold you back from protecting each other? And if they say no, well, at the end, he just told me he wanted to think about it, but he said there wouldn't be anything to hold him back. I'm going to be like, John, what's going on, man? You told me in the beginning that nothing would hold you back. What's really happening here? Is it the premium? Is it, you don't really feel like this is the right policy for you? You're allowed to be bold and say those things, right? You are allowed to be bold and say, hey, is this really important to you to protect your wife? You can get away with saying that stuff. Okay. That's what it's really meant to do, is meant to build you up, to build that trust so that they're willing to go with you. Because if they don't like you, they're not gonna sell insurance. They're not gonna buy insurance from you. It's as simple as that. And I haven't come across anybody that I've done business with that doesn't like me, because either didn't work and I found out in the first 10 minutes and I just moved on, or they didn't buy insurance. It's simple as that. So, Mark, you are phenomenal at building rapport, and I know that we've talked a lot about this, but kind of go through what what your process is when it comes to rapport, if you would.
During the meeting or on the call?
On the call.
Yeah. So it's when I first get them, you say, "Hey, Lake, this is Mark. I'm getting back to you on the form you filled out in regards to mortgage protection. You remember that form?" And they say, "Yes, I do." "Great. How you doing today?" "I'm doing well. How about yourself?" I'm living the dream. It's more like a nightmare, but it's my dream nonetheless. And gets them laughing a little bit, and then I'll ask them, so what was your main concern when you filled out this form? Who are you looking to protect? What was your ultimate end goal? And then they'll talk about it. They'll tell me kind of I was looking to protect my wife and this, that, and the other, and my children. I said, yeah, I got two kids myself. I got one that's 27, one that's 6. Don't ask. you know. And I said, life decisions, right? Oh hell, but it gets them talking because you get a guy to go, oh, I'm on my third marriage and I got 6 kids with one and 3 with the other. So, oh, well, you get it then, right? So you understand what I'm talking about, And are you still married? No, that one fell through too.
Yeah.
Things like that. We don't like to talk about personal things. We shouldn't talk about personal things, but when it's in a joking manner like that, it's okay. It just makes you connect with the person because now you have similarities in life that have happened. It allows you to connect with that person. If they're
Hey,
from
Mark, let me point out something. This is what I wanted to go over a little bit is actually being personally vulnerable to them. Because if you extend that olive branch by being vulnerable, and Mark did it in a joking way, well, that marriage fell through too. That's a little bit of a vulnerable moment. And when you open up like that, people let their guard down. Okay, this guy's a real human too. He's just not going to sit here and try to hammer me to buy insurance. Go ahead, Mark.
Yep. And then if I, it's depending upon specific area, like Maine, Lake knows because he's up in Maine, but the coastal route of Maine, there are so many attractions. And I remember it from being a kid, and I'll talk about that. The big Indian on the trading post on the right hand side, is that still there? Yeah, sure it is. Oh, how about LL Beans? Everybody's got to stop at LL Beans to go to the bathroom, and then they walk out spending $300, $400, right? And it's just things like that to get them to know that one, you're from that area or about that area, but you're connecting with them about where they live, not where you live. And if they ask you, where are you now? Well, full disclosure, I live in North Carolina now. I had to get away from that snow. You guys can keep it. It's like 30 feet of snow every year. My mother, when I was 5 years old, she put a shovel in my hands, and I had to shovel that snow every single year. Now, when I was in South Boston, you got to picture it. You shovel out the car, and then the plow comes by 2 minutes later and plows it right back in. I said, so as soon as I was able to get out of there and come down to warmer weather, I did, and I'll never go back.
Yeah.
But I do love it up there. It's home. You guys are my people. We're all a bunch of jerks. They call us massholes, right? So
Mhm.
and
Right.
it just works. North Dakota, well, they're all blue collared. It's a red state. They all love their guns. It's just finding stuff to talk
Exactly.
about.
Some
Even the
redneck
lies.
stuff, right? Right. You're talking to guys, the way our leads are designed, you're talking to middle class Americans. So anything we're not talking about going to the Ritz or the Four Seasons or my 90-foot yacht, right? We're talking to middle class, hardworking Americans. So, it's pretty easy to come up with something to talk about. Like Mark, people in South Carolina, I talk about guns all the time. Matter of fact, I secretly have things here in my screen that relate to my hobbies. Guess what? Those are fishing poles right there. Okay. And that's my 35 gun that I use to shoot deer, right? So if I'm talking to a client, I could say, yeah, hey, there's my fishing pole. There's a little charcuterie board I thought would look better on the wall than holding cheese. And then I have my rifle that I can show them if they're a gun nut, right? And that's making that connection for them to trust you. Okay, that is really important. Now, yeah, Brandon Brown, look, he's got a 22 Luger right there. I'm just kidding. But when it comes to tough people who are closed off, people who are dry, okay, it is our job to come in and have personality. You can't do this job in a matter of fact, factual way. It's not car insurance. Car insurance you have to get. It's state mandated where you have to have car insurance in order to legally register your car. At least here in Maine, you have to have car insurance to register your car. You can't even drive it until you have insurance. So, people are just shopping around for the best deal. They're going to buy because it's based on fact, right? I'm going to get the cheapest thing that I can because I want to keep my monthly budget low. So I can say, yeah, what is your driver's license number? What city do you live in? Right? I can be really dry because It's easy. Here, you have to have some personality. You have to have some emotion. But there's some tough nuts to crack out there. How many of you have had appointments where the husband's like this? Yep, a lot of you. Me too. I've had people who are like that. Okay. You got to get them to open up. You're going to start cracking that nut. If you're talking to the wife and you've had a great 3-minute conversation, you're going to look at him and say, John, you all right, man? Are you just tapped out for the night? Right? Are you tired from work? Right? I'm just gonna make a little snide remark that's not rude to talk to him, like, hey man, you all right? You look so bored. Am I boring you to death, buddy? I know this is not fun to talk about, but you look like you're gonna fall asleep on me. Right? Those little things will get them to open up and they'll laugh and they'll loosen up a little bit, usually. Okay. And one of the best things that I love is just be like, call that the pink elephant out in the room. Oh, Jared just said that. Literally. Yeah, call out the elephant in the room, right? Say, hey, John, what's the matter, man? Am I really annoying you or do you not want to be here? Well, I've got things to do. Hey, totally get it. I understand you got things to do. I know it's important to you to protect your wife, though, right? Okay. Would you mind giving me just another 5 or 10 minutes to give you the quick version of what we got going on so you can get back to what you're doing? Right? Boom. I've handled that objection before it even started. Okay. I was able to open up. And if I can get him to laugh, I know I've won. I know that I've won. If I can get him to smile, I know I've won. Right. So I want to make sure that they're engaged with me just as much as I'm engaged with their significant other. Okay. Now, if they're by themselves, right, I got to figure out what's on their mind. You don't know what people have gone through. They might have had a really crappy day at work. They might have gotten yelled at. They might be going through a terrible divorce. They might be going through something. You have no idea what they're going through. So it's okay to ask them if they're okay. Guess how many people ask you if you're okay on a daily basis? Not many, but that's a really powerful statement. Hey, are you okay? What's the matter? Right? That will break anybody's, or mostly anybody's stoic wall right to the ground. Are you okay? Yeah, well, this is going on, so it's a lot, and I know this. And you can have a conversation, and then you can be vulnerable. They'll be a little bit vulnerable. Boom, trust built right then and there. Make a connection with your clients. That's going to be the easiest route to build rapport. Okay. And at the end of the appointment, we already went over if they still want to think about it, you have ammo. You can say pretty much whatever you want. I had a gentleman at the end who was balking at the price and he said, no, we're not going to do this. And he was trying to get up and go away. And he's like, I told you I just wanted this, and I told you I just wanted that. And I looked at his wife and I said, does he talk to everybody like this? And she said, no, no. And I said, John, what's the matter, man? He's like, well, you know what? I've just dealt with a lot of insurance, and we're insurance poor, and this and that. And I said, well, listen, you have to get car insurance, right? You have to have mortgage insurance from the company. But if you died tomorrow, what is she left with? And he shut up. And I said, you are gone, and she has nothing. How hard did you guys work for that house that you lived in? Well, yeah, it took us a long time to get a $350,000 mortgage. Exactly. And you want her to have what you worked so hard to keep. Right. And he shed a little tear because he thought about all of the house projects they did, the pain that it took to get that extra job, the comfort zones that he had to step out of in order to buy a $350,000 house because he loved his wife. Right. And that is where you can really see. I was bold. I was bold, and you have the right to be bold when you have built enough rapport. Jared, you had made a comment real quick, but do you have anything to say?
Well, what I was just going to say is so often people are afraid to be bold because they're afraid that somebody's going to get upset and not buy from them. Well, people, unless you're bold, you probably don't have a sale anyways. So what have you got to lose? That's what I was going to say in regards to what you just said there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And when you have enough rapport, you can say anything with a smile. Like, you know, oh my gosh, I can't even believe you just thought that you were going to leave and not protect your wife. What are you thinking, Bill? You know, you can say anything with a smile, guys.
Yep.
That's a huge thing. But when you have that rapport, and one thing that I do after I've built the rapport, Lake, when tough conversations like that come up and it's time to be bold, I always say, can I ask y'all a question? Sure. Can I talk to you guys like you were my brother or my sister? Or can I talk to you guys like you were my parents? And they'll inevitably say yes because you've built so much rapport. And what they've really done is they've given you permission to say whatever you want.
100%.
So, anyways, back to you.
Awesome, Jared. That's great. I use that line quite a bit. When I get some tough cookies for sure. Hey guys, can I talk to you like I would my mom or my sister? Would you like my professional opinion? And let's say they're struggling on which one to pick. Hey, we really want preferred, but the standard or basic pricing is a little bit better. With enough rapport, you can say, hey, can I talk to you like I would a family member? And then say, do you want my professional opinion? They'll say yes. And I said, you know what? I would go with the basic option, right? Because you want to make sure it fits your budget. You want to make sure that if something else comes up in later in the year, this isn't the first thing you're going to cancel. Because if that's the case, I don't want you to do anything if it's going to be that tight. And then guess what? They always go for the standard. I basically told them what to do, and then they'll go for the standard. They'll make that. They just needed permission and someone to bold to help push them into that direction, right? They start to get into this little paralysis of analysis on their own, and you just need to nudge them. And with that rapport and being bold, you're going to help them make that a decision. I do that probably twice a week. I tell people what to get, right? And that's because of the rapport that I build with them. So it's 8:30. Let's open it up for some questions about rapport building. You guys, there's a little reaction button down at the bottom. See a little smiley face with a plus sign. Go ahead and click that and then click the raise your hand. Mark Spear.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on one of the things that you said about let me give you the quick version, right? So when it comes to that, when you identify that the client is kind of drawn back, tired, whatever it may be, and you say, you got 10 minutes, let me give you the quick version. Do not come out of your selling system. They don't know how the meeting is supposed to run. They have no idea. They don't know a quick version, a long version. They don't even know. So you stay right with your selling system, your presentation, and you just go right through it. Okay. Don't feel rushed just because they're trying to rush you. Okay. Stick to your selling system. That's all.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. So it's really important to do that. And the other thing is too, is that sometimes you'll get some people who, will calm down after that because you're giving them the quick version or whatnot. But then you'll get people on the very next slide is like, listen, man, I just wanted the numbers. Like, I don't need all this fluff stuff. I don't need everything. That's what I'm going to ask. Hey, man, is this just really not a good time? Are you like super busy or rushed to get out of here? Because I want to make sure we have enough time so that you understand what you're getting, because you wouldn't buy a car without driving it, right? So is there a better time you and I can meet, right? Because if they're in a bad mood already, then why would they don't even know me. They could just be snapping at me because they've had a bad day. So I'd rather reschedule that for another time than deal with them right now and just not get the sale. Right? I'm doing them an injustice by by not rescheduling that in that instance. Right? I had a lady that I called probably my first 3 months. I called and she swore at me up and down. I can't believe you called me at 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday. I work nights. You're this expletive, and then hung up on me. Well, guess what? I didn't reschedule it, but it's the same idea. I just showed up at her house and knocked on her door and held up the lead and said, "Is this you?" And she didn't even know who I was. She was just peachy as she could be. She was very happy. She obviously woke up and had her coffee. And I was able to go in there and I wrote like 1600 AP. So sometimes it's better to pivot. It's just like if I see a clients are in a car, right? They're not going to have access to their account information. They're not going to have access to other things like their medication if I need exact dosages for the application. So I'm actually going to try to reschedule that. Oh, you guys are super busy. You're doing those errands. Why don't we just pick a better time when you can both be home and we can talk about this? Okay, same idea. Diane.
Yeah. So I understand the rapport, and when I get into my Zoom appointments, I do pretty good with the rapport. My biggest issue is the rapport when I'm trying to set up an appointment. I just don't quite understand how to get them to like me when I'm focusing on setting an appointment.
Right. Do you ask them, how are you today?
I do.
Okay, well, that is a way to check their temperature and see what their temperament is, but it's also setting them up for you to talk and for you to tell them how you feel. Hey, I'm doing great. How are you? Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, they don't
Or,
ask me back, like you said. Nobody asks me how I am.
well, not
Because-
everybody's going to ask me back. Polite people are going to ask you back, right? And you can have that good conversation with them. But the other thing is, hey, if you know the town that they're in, right? Hey, I used to go to summer camp up there, right? Or I used to live around there. Do you know anybody this, and this, right? Try to find something connection between, hey, how you doing today and what you're getting to,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you're dialing in, okay, let's put it this way, Diane, you guys had a crazy hurricane last year, right? And if you're calling the North Carolina coast, what are you going to talk about, right? Hey, how'd the family fare? Did you guys make it out of the coast okay when the hurricane hit?
Okay.
You
Yeah.
just cared a little bit. You cared to ask them that. You were
Gotcha.
bold enough to care, right?
Hey,
That's really
Blake.
gonna. Yeah, Mark.
So just another thing, Diane. So like I'll ask them when I'm talking to them on the phone, and I'll say, we got $155,000 mortgage that's through Farmers and Merchants Bank. Was that a new purchase or refinance? New purchase. Excellent. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Was it hard for you to get that home? Because for me, I bought mine last year and I got beat out by 6 different bids that I put on 6 different homes because of the market that we're in. How was it for you? How easy was it for you to get your home? Tell me about that.
Is it your first home? Oh, it's your first home. Congratulations. How's it feel? It must be nice not living in your parents' basement anymore, right? Joke about it with them like that, right? Those little opportunities to open them up. Does that help, Diane?
Sounds good. Yes, thank you.
You got it. Tyler McManus. Hey, I'll go to David. David, what's up, my brother?
Hey, sir. Just wondering, what is the bare minimum time needed to establish rapport, or is there a point where you're thinking, okay, I got rapport going, I could go into the presentation? Is there
Yeah, usually 5 to 7 minutes. Really,
is there
5
a
to
certain
7
point?
minutes.
Is there something that you're looking for from them? Like it could be just like an agreement, or you're looking for just you could feel their attention to. Okay, got it.
Smiles,
Okay.
laughing,
All right.
looking at each other, talking, kind of like that. Imagine you're at a bar with 3 of your friends and you're having a really good time and you're having that conversation. When you get that feeling when you're like, hey, I'm having
In
fun,
sync. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
That's the feeling you want to get. And then that's kind of when I pull an abrupt stop and I said, well, guys, I know we could probably talk each other's ears off all day, but I told you I'd try to keep this short. And then I
Good
move into
segue.
my presentation. The segue. Exactly.
Thank you.
You got it. Yes, Nelson.
Can I demonstrate real quick what you just were teaching?
Absolutely.
Dave, watch this. So Sarah and Lake, I'm so glad we're here today. The first thing I want to know is which one of you two chased the other one? Who chased who?
That was me, actually.
Diane, did you see what just happened? She started blushing because she knew. Yeah, go ahead, tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him, Daddy, you chased me down.
Yeah.
And then they giggle again
Right.
because I interacted with them with something personal.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'd love to ask that question. And the other one I'd like to ask is who was the, once I get into the presentation and I get started, after I say, I could talk with you guys all night, but we should get started, right? So tell me, who was the smart one that filled out this form?
Mhm.
So I'm continuing the rapport building, but I'm actually getting started. And if she says I did, well, then I tell him, yeah, buddy, you've got a smart wife. You blessed her with this house and she doesn't want to lose it. And if he says, no, I did, I turn to her and I say, wow, you've got a great husband. Most guys don't even want to be at this meeting, but you've got one that filled out the form. This is going to be one of the best couples that I protect this month. I could feel it. And then I say, I'm projecting I'm going to write an app tonight, didn't I?
Mhm.
That's how you build rapport, right, Mark?
And I'm going to chime in, like,
Yeah.
so y'all, you're going to find the flow, because I come from corporate America where basically you are transactional, to where I came to TLG. And when Jared was on the other side of the door listening to me book an appointment, he's like, why do you sound like a robot? And like, it was very hard for me to build rapport, even though I'm outgoing. I had this mindset of, okay, cut and dry, let's get to the point, where my first appointment where I shadowed Jared, like, we walked into a home, thank God that now we're virtual now, but basically I walked into a home and he talked with this woman for 10 minutes and I'm giving him big eyes like, what are you doing right now? Like, get to business kind of thing. So that's where I came from, to where now the rapport is so easy. I'm able to just be myself. Like, this is what you get when you come to a meeting with me. Like, if it's just a girl and it's us, I got her. I'm like, oh, girl, you're so pretty today. Look at your hair. Be like, or hey, do you work from home? So like, you just enjoy the person. Then when you get someone that's kind of rough around the edges, like Lake said, like, call them out. Like, hey, is everything okay? You doing okay? Are you having a good day? And they'll just start to open up. So don't think that it's going to come automatically, because it didn't for me. This was something that I struggled with. And now, like, all of my clients are my friends. I had a client give me a pair of heels because I built so much rapport, so people are giving me gifts, but I'm making a friend. And it's just so much fun. Just the life that we have, working anywhere we want to over Zoom, and you're just going to find the flow, give yourself grace, and just let it be organic. It's going to come. So yes, 5 to 7 minutes, but like, literally, you're going to find your groove the more times you do it. So
Awesome, Danielle. That was fire. Thank you very much. Thank you. So one thing I wanted to add, and then I'll get to you, Tyler, was people actually like you more when you ask for help. Did you know that? People do. So how do I ask a client for help? So if I know that they're a couple and that they've been together for a long time, one of my go-to lines is like, wow, well, what is your best piece of marriage advice? I've been married for 2 years. How do we make it to 40 years married? I just ask them for something personal. Usually it's sometimes they'll laugh, but they'll say, hey, good communication, never go to bed angry, and then we'll just have a short conversation on that. But they felt like they were able to impart a piece of wisdom on me, and since they helped me, they like me a little bit more. So if you can find a way to ask for help from your client, that's going to go a long way as well.
That's actually called the Benjamin effect.
Yes.
Franklin effect. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
President Franklin. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, David.
And almost always gets them to smile.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Tyler, what's up, man?
Hey, really awesome stuff, Danielle. That's helpful for me because, like, I've been kind of cut dry. Also, use like than everybody. So I wanted to ask, like, as far as when you're saying, is there anything that's going to stop you from getting a policy if you can find the right option for you today? What about the timing of that? Is that
What is
after
the timing? So usually the
stop?
timing is, for me personally, I'm gonna build rapport, then I'm gonna get to business. I'm gonna tell them what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go through the health, redo their health, just make sure I didn't miss anything. And then I'm gonna go there, do their financial analysis. And then from there, I'll say, okay, great. So you have some extra money to put towards this. Now, if this was free, guys, we'd already be done now, right? Ha 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 ha. But it's not free. So we've got to find that sweet spot between free and hell no per month. Okay. If we can do that, if we can find the right premium, is there any reason that would hold you guys back from protecting each other? Okay. And don't let them give you a BS answer. Well, no, the premium's got to be right. Is that a yes to my question? No. I said, yeah, but if we have the premium and it's right, what else would there be that would hold you back? Is there anything? Any concerns that you have? Well, Lake, I really want to shop around. Now I can handle that objection. Now I can go, okay, great. Well, it just so happens that I work with 15 different carriers who have 150 different products. I'm going to show you the breakdown of how I shop for you to get the best rate. How's that? You have a personal shopper here for you, right? Or, hey, I'm worried about money, right? You can handle that objection up front, because if you can't handle that objection up front, you should end the call and just spend that extra time dialing. Make sense, Tyler?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, 'cause I'm trying to get that flow of the transition between like get the rapport and then start being transactional, kind of.
Yeah, so that transition is this. So when you notice there's a lull in your conversation, right? Everybody's, when everybody's talking and they kind of just quiet down because the story is done and everybody's done laughing or whatnot, then you're
And
gonna
you
say,
don't want
well,
quiet.
yeah, you said, well, I probably could talk you guys' ear off all night, but I told you I'd keep this short. And then I started the business stuff. Okay, that is my segue. I believe Nelson has something to say about it.
I wanted to chime in just for that one thing because I just had this happen to me. Well, yeah, it's not that I can't make a decision. It's just that I have to shop around. Oh, that's great. I went to the next tab. I said, let's go shopping together. And I showed her all the carriers. I said, I'm so glad we're right in alignment because that's exactly what I intended to do with you. We're going to shop together and find the one that works for you, because whether you get it through Mutual of Omaha with me or the other guy, Mutual of Omaha only has one price for someone who's 5'7", 175 pounds that's a smoker. It's the same price no matter who you get it to. So let's go shopping. And they just chuckled at what I said. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Next time someone says they want to shop around, say, great, let's go shopping together. And smile really big as you say it, because that smile, Danielle knows, you start laughing and they're like, oh, did I miss something? I better start laughing with you.
Yep.
Back to you, Lake.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Nell. That help you, Tyler?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much.
Awesome. All right. Do we have any other questions? Going once. Come on, guys. I know there's some hungry people on here that have some issues they want to ask, or
I
issues
just
with
like
the core
to
building.
add something to what you said earlier when you were talking about the I need to think about it, just slipped my mind, but I've been holding the thing since then. You were talking about the I need to think about it. When you say, may I be frank with you? Okay. Sometimes, and it's very rarely, but sometimes, even though they give you permission, they're still uncomfortable with what you say. So I've learned to do this. When people ask you your opinion on something, and you just say, I like it, I don't like it. If you're the one selling it, they think it's self-serving. Or you just say anything, you're a salesman. But if you say, you mind if I be frank with you? I just had this situation with my brother. And can I tell you what I told him? When you say, this is what I told someone else, they look at it like a story versus you're trying to convince them. So still say, may I be frank with you? I want to just share with you on a personal level what I shared with my brother. He kind of felt the way you did. He felt like blah, blah, blah. And I told him that. And he understood at that point, and now here's the golden moment. Now you tell them how they should be thinking, but you don't tell them what to do. You show them what your brother did, and your brother's really smart. My brother really got it at that point, that it wasn't this, it was really that. And that's why we got him covered, because he understood this is what he needed to do for his wife. All of that is subliminal messaging.
Mhm.
So if you're uncomfortable being directive and telling them this is what I think you should do, tell them a story, because facts tell, stories sell. Tell them a story of how you told someone else and how they responded to the advice. I was holding that. I didn't want to forget about that.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Nelson. Hey, we got one more, Jeff Morales.
So my question is, any tips on building rapport with a client that's in a state that you've never been to ever in your life?
Yeah, it's well, I call it GTS. It's Google that so if you GTS, you just, type in their town, type in their county, type in events in. Like if I'm let's say I have a North Dakota lead, right? I've never been to North Dakota in my entire life. So I'm going to type in, okay, this client is in Waterville, North Dakota, events there. I'm going to look up, Mark does this. He'll look up their house on Zillow and see what it went for, right? So those little extra things that you go above and beyond to do will give you something to talk about. Hey, did you see what happened the other day? It was so funny. Though I heard about those 10 cows that ran amok and it took them 48 hours to get them back in their pen. Something ridiculous. Local news. Talk about local news. It's really that easy, Jeff.
Hey,
So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, don't forget the GTS.
Hey, Lake,
Yeah,
you live in Dickinson, North Dakota, right?
I do.
Yeah. How's the weather up there?
It's pretty dang cold.
Yeah, I won't tell you, Lake, that it's 70 degrees today and beautiful and sunny. I won't tell you that down here in
Oh,
North
Mark,
Carolina.
come on.
Hey, listen, Lake, most of my clients are up in North Dakota are either working in the oil fields or military or police officers. Which one are you?
Well, that describes all of my uncles. I'm actually a vet.
There you go. There. Well, thank you for your service. I appreciate that.
Yeah. See, Jeff, it's really as easy as that, brother. You just gotta open up and talk to him like you would a friend. You have to imagine your friend there. I gotta tell you guys, I was so afraid to talk on the phone. And this is literally not that long ago. I would say it's about 7 years ago now. I'm 32, so 25 years old was when I got into sales. But I was so afraid to talk on the phone that I was embarrassed to call for delivery. I hated calling to order pizza or anything for anybody because I didn't want to mess it up. I was really awkward about it. But what I learned through sales was that you can pretty much say whatever you want to anybody. And it's as long as it's not creepy or weird, it's going to be totally fine. And once you find your groove and your personality and you connect with someone, that's when you're able to really open up yourself. So don't be afraid or be embarrassed that you're going to say something. Say something. I say things that are wacky and crazy all the time. And and if it doesn't come across to the client and they look at each other like, who's this guy? And I was like, that one didn't work too well, did it, guys? Well, I'll go back to practicing that. I can make fun of the situation, make fun of myself, and then that still will build rapport to begin with. So it's an art in itself, but don't be afraid to talk to your clients like would they like they would be your friend. Okay. Awesome. So it's 8:51. I'm gonna call it for tonight. Guys, we had another 43 people on here tonight. That's a lot of people that are hungry. I'm really proud of y'all for being here. It really means that you really want this, and I'm super excited to bring this to you guys. So thank you for showing up, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks,
you.
Blake.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks,
Got
Lake.
it.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you all.